Alrighty, hey, and welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you all for being a part of the broadcast today, guys. Today's going to be a very interesting show. We've been trying to get back on a schedule where we can get these broadcasts out, but it seems like we've just been just so busy, and it's really because of you. I'm going to blame you guys for this whole thing because really what you've done is you've set this thing on a trajectory that has just made it, the broadcast, it's making it tough to actually do a podcast and do the Facebook and social media, the whole thing. I need help, folks, is really what I'm trying to say. Just a few weeks ago, we had, well, you know what I'll do is I'll explain it after the break, okay? So let me set up the whole show, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you the whole thing, okay? So today on the show, we're going to talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the DNC. We're also going to be talking about Iran. Yeah, we're going to talk about Iran because Iran has got some serious issues that it is posing to the American public that we have just really not gotten a hold of yet. So when we come back, folks, we'll talk about all the things that make the world go round and about Iran and all that stuff. So stick around. We'll be back in a second. Nevada Conservative Podcast. All right. Excuse me. All right, folks, we're back. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you all for being part of the broadcast, as I said before. And before we get going too much further, folks, I really want to just remind you guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our channel. Let everybody know that you love us and that you're really digging this. And you can find us on Spotify, on Rumble. You can see this Chiron right here below us. But go to all of our social media sites and check us out. We would love to have you as a part of the broadcast. Anyways, let's go real quick. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a lot like a lot of the other candidates for president in the Democrat Party are. And it's generally they're using these guys. They're using these guys for what they can get out of them. And so we put together a list. We put together a real quick list of some of the presidents and their how they did have a vision, and as a result of that, what happened as a result of it. And so let's kind of go through some of them. So Jimmy Carter. Many of you remember Jimmy Carter. He's a peanut farmer from Georgia. And nice smile, so nice smile, Jimmy, but just keep your brother Billy away from the White House minibar and try not to lose Iran while you're at it. So Jimmy Carter had nothing. I mean, he was just kind of goofy. Bill Clinton, the ultimate skirt-chasing egomaniac, left a bigger mark on Monica Lewinsky's blue dress than he ever did on America's future. Yeah, it's true. Barack Obama, another useless idiot. Smooth-talking community organizer. Give that guy basketball, and he'll sell you out his mother for a photo op and a book deal. And I know a lot of people go, "Oh, you're being so hard on Barack Obama." But see, Barack Obama probably changed the course of America more than anybody because of his stupidity. Then there's John Fetterman. John Fetterman had a serious brain aneurysm. Remember this, guys. John Fetterman couldn't even put two sentences together. And yet the Democrat Party said, you know what, will he vote? Can we just put his hand on, can we just put his hand on the scale and have him vote? Because if we can put his hand on the scale and vote, that's all we care about, okay? And they put that guy in office. It was so sad. Even his wife was in on the whole thing. Speaking of that, Joe Biden was the same way. Joe Biden had some serious issues. That guy was brain dead before he even got into office, and you knew it. Everybody knew it. He was so bad that Joe Biden wasn't even on the campaign trail. He was in a bunker someplace. Remember that? It was the bunker candidacy. And they no, no you know, I think he at the time I don't even think he did a town hall. He didn't do a debate, nothing. He said, nope, nope, I'm going to stay here and you guys are going to vote for me. And they did it because guess what? They knew they could use this guy and they could get him across the finish line. And then we had Kamala Harris. You know, she never met a wine glass that she could pass up, guys. There's just no way. Now you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And she is, once again, she's going to be one of those people who is going to be used by the DNC. That's if she even makes it that far, folks. She may not even make it that far. But if she does, guys, she is going to be another useful idiot that the Democrats are going to use to push their agenda. And that's the scary part about the Democrat Party, is that are they really putting together people who have vision for the country or people that they can just use? Unlike Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump has definitely got a vision. His thing was make America great again. Okay, make America great again, and he's got an agenda. He's pushing it through. He's got not just an agenda, he's got a mission that he's on. And he said it. He said, you know what? That last time that he was that they shot at him, that he felt like he was on a mission from God. Yeah, that he was on a mission from God, and that it was his job, his sworn duty, to push across the agenda for America, to make America great again. And that's huge, okay? So some things we've got to worry about, guys. We really do. Why are you trying to get these Democrats in office? Is it because they have a vision for the country, or is it because they've got or they're just useful idiots propped up by the Democrat Party? Anyways, we'll be back in just a second, folks. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the country. We're going to talk a little bit about some Nepo babies. Okay, some Nepo babies that are, yeah. Anyways, we'll be back in just a second, folks. Sherman Ray, this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. We'll be right back. All right, folks, this is Sherman Ray, and I'm back. This is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you all for being a part of the broadcast. And once again, I want to thank everybody who's been encouraging us and getting on board with the conservative army. I guess can I say that? I can say that. A conservative army that has been mounting a surge of conservatism around the country, and I want to thank you all for doing that for us, folks, and helping us do that. So let me get to this note here, folks, because this was very interesting. So many of you probably heard this term before. It's called Nepo babies. Okay, Nepo babies. What the heck is a Nepo baby? Well, many of you have heard of nepotism. Okay, nepotism, where basically your family pulls strings for you and gets you privileges, that kind of stuff. Well, that's sometimes, you know what, I'm all about nepotism, to tell you the truth. I mean, in the old days, what we would call that, we would call that watching out for your family. That's what we used to call it. Leaving a legacy. Remember, if you think about the word Johnson. That means it's the sons of John, okay? John's sons, Johnson, okay? And that's where those terms come from. So there's nothing inherently wrong about nepotism. There is something wrong, folks, though, when you have people who live on that and they have this expectation that you're going to take care of them because of their parents. And that's what we have going on in Washington, D.C. right now. Now, there is a long line, guys. There's a long line of people who are Nepo babies, okay? Or their parents were in politics before they were. As a matter of fact, I think the John Quincy Adams, I think, was the first one. I think his father was in was in. So it started way before the guys today. But the difference is that the reason why these guys, their sons, got into office in our founding fathers was because of a sense of service to their country. Okay, and that's a good thing, as opposed to what we see now. What we see now in politics is a generational wealth. We see generational power. We see generational privilege. We see generational babying. I forgot if that's even a word. And that's the Nepo babies we see today. Or we see, let's say, Hunter Biden. Okay, Hunter Biden is the consummate Nepo baby. He's not serving the country. He's serving himself, right? I mean, there's no doubt about it. Hunter Biden is the son of Joe Biden, and he's the poster child for Nepo babies. But we also see it in other children of these politicians who are just an embarrassment to the country. They're not doing anything. Graham Plattner, and it doesn't. So you don't necessarily have to be a politician to have a Nepo baby. Okay, you can have a parent who just pays your bills, and you're not doing anything. Graham Plattner was the same way. Graham Plattner, as I recall the stories about him, his mom made a lot of money. His dad made a lot of money, and he basically went into the military, came back out, couldn't adjust. So his dad buys him a house, I believe. Mom sets up the oyster farm for him, and the only customer he had was his mom. And now he was running for Senate like he was something, right? He's a Nepo baby. Come on. Abdul al-Sayed, the same thing. Now people are looking at him now and he's going, oh, he's such a self-made man. That guy, married into money. So he married into money, plus his parents were something. I think his dad was a professor, and his wife, I think she's a psychiatrist or something like that. Yeah, she's definitely a psychiatrist because she doesn't accept insurance. Ro Khanna is the same thing. His wife made all this money. His kids are, and so he got into politics, and he's doing really good now, fighting for the man. Here's the point here, guys, that we want to make on this, is that from Zora Mamdani, Hunter Biden, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Van Jones, all these people go around crowing about how America is so unfair and how America doesn't look out for the little guy, when all of these guys, okay, what's her name? Joy Reid. She went to Harvard. No, did she go to Yale? She's a Yaley. Yeah, she went to Yale, okay? And they're complaining about how America's so unfair and everything else. Oh, poor guys. Oh, my gosh. Okay? No, guys. You guys are symbolic of what is bad in America, okay? You're a bunch of spoiled, rotten kids who seem to think that everything should be spoon-fed to you because it was. Can you imagine? I can imagine, folks, if somebody sent me to Yale, are you kidding? I would be the most grateful guy in the world. I'd be giving back. Oh gosh, and if you think I give back enough now, folks, without going to Yale, can you imagine what it would be like if guys like me, guys like Sean Hannity, guys like Dwayne Dupree, guys like that, if we had been given and been born with silver spoons in our mouths, what we would be like? We'd be like Donald Trump, okay? A guy who did not have to go, he didn't have to do any of this stuff, guys. Donald Trump was a Nepo baby, okay? I think he'd probably be the first one to say that he benefited because of his dad, okay? But the difference between Donald Trump and all these other yahoos is that this guy got to be the bad boy. He raised so much money, he became a billionaire, something his parents probably never thought they would ever see. And now, as the President of the United States, he spends all of his time trying to make sure that Americans are living the best life they could, and that America which is the country that gave him all that he's got, is the best country in the world. Unlike all these other fools who are trying to destroy America. Zoran Mamdani, guess what? Zoran, really. Zoran. You've been given so much, and now you're trying to destroy the country that made you who you are, who gave you what you have today. And that's the scary thing about it, is that these guys want to destroy a country that has done so much for them, and it makes absolutely no sense. You know, guys, when we come back, folks, you're going to hear a little bit more about what's going on with Iran. Stick around, folks. We'll be back in just a second. All right, folks, we are back to Sherman Rain. This is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you guys once again for being a part of the broadcast. Once again, I encourage you, if this is your first time checking out the broadcast, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to our channel. Let us know that you really like us. Share this with everybody. Share it with as many people as you can. The more and more people are finding out about us, the more and more people are going, man, we really need to share this guy. I had one lady say, which is very flattering, I want to thank you, I'm very humbled by it, is that she said, you know what, this guy's pretty smart. You need to listen to this guy. And I went, you know what? My wife doesn't even tell me. No, she does. My wife doesn't even tell me that. So I thank you so much for stroking my ego. Thank you so much. You can check us out also on Spotify, on YouTube, Truth Social, Rumble. You'll find us there, and of course our Facebook page, and on our website. Our website is thenevadaconservative.com. That's thenevadaconservative.com. Let's close the show today talking about Iran. And many of you know that Iran is probably one of the, if not one of the worst countries on the planet, but it's definitely one with one of the biggest problems that we see of most countries. And we find out over the years of trying to deal with this country that they keep not keeping their promises. They make an agreement and they turn around, they turn their backs on it. And a lot of people attribute this to their philosophy, their religious philosophy. And there's some people that say their religious philosophy is that they can tell a lie to an infidel and it's not a big deal. Okay? Well, it goes a little deeper than that. And I heard this just recently, and I really wanted to repeat it because I thought it was very profound. Many of you know that Iran does not like us. They don't like us, and they don't like Israel. And they believe between the two of us, one represents the great Satan, the other one represents the little Satan. So the big Satan and little Satan. And as such, they've got a hard-on for us, guys. I know it's kind of a crude way of saying it, but that's true. They just don't like us. And so here's the deal. And I think maybe if we understood their thinking, that we would be able to deal with them a lot better. Because I know the president is getting frustrated with them because of what they do, what they say. He expects to be dealing with a bunch of people who are very rational and people who will hold up their end of the bargain when you deal with them face to face. And that makes sense, okay? That's if you are dealing with a rational person or a rational organization or rational people who are dealing with you on the same ideological platform, or you're on the same level. But when you're dealing with a nation who is a theocracy, okay, whether it be Christian or whether it be Muslim or whatever it might be, when they're dealing on that level, they are not dealing with you on the same level as you think they are. And what do I mean by that? Well, as a Christian, I look at people through the lens of Christianity. Okay? As a Muslim, you look at people through the lens of the Quran or Islam. Okay? That's the way you look at them. And if you look at their writings, and I've not spent any time, I think I have a Quran behind me here, so I just never look at it. But they look at us and Western civilization through the lens of the Quran. And the Quran tells Islamists or Muslims that's the lens on what they say they're supposed to deal with the world on. And here's the thing. Islam says that we are infidels and that we are not just infidels, okay? We are the great Satan, okay? And the great Satan is not to be dealt with or to be agreed with or to be talked with. The great Satan is, you can fool them and you can pretend like you're working with them, but you are never, ever to make deals with the devil, okay? I, as a Christian, would never make a deal with the devil, okay? Even though I want to play the guitar really good, I would never make a deal with the devil to play the guitar, okay? And that's why Iran cannot be trusted, and Iran cannot be capitulated, and Iran cannot be negotiated with, because they are not looking at us as though we can be dealt with, and they are looking at us as a Satan. So with that in mind, guys, should we even try to negotiate with Iran or the Iranian leadership? Okay. And I know, and so I heard this guy talk about this recently, and he's going, yeah, but not all Muslims are that way. I go, we're not talking about all Muslims, guys. Okay. There's certain levels of Islam that people practice, and many of the people who are here in America are not like the kind that are living in Iran. Okay. But that does not mean that their holy writings tell them how to deal with pagans, okay, or non-Islamists. We're not pagans, we're Christians, but non-believers in Islam. So there's a lot of people living in America that are just fine. Okay, they just want to live their life and they want to make their money, and they don't want to see Sharia law here in America because they're Jack Islamists. Okay, they're Jack Muslims. Okay, for lack of a better word. Okay, and we like those kind of people. Okay, they're quasi Christian, quasi Islamists. Okay, we like those people. Okay, as opposed to dyed in the wool Islamists. Okay, dyed in the wool Muslims who believe beheading an infidel is a part of life. That's the way it should be. That's why they have no problem beheading people. They have no problem raping little girls. They have no problem killing babies. They have no problem, destroying people's lives. They have no problem burning down villages. They have no problem doing all of this stuff because that's what their Quran says to do. So it goes back to, once again, and we're going to end on this, guys. Should America be dealing with Iran the way we're doing right now as normal people, or should we be looking at them the way they look at us, guys? Okay? Because armed with that kind of information, folks, there is no way in heck that we should be dealing with a government, a theocracy like theirs, like we're dealing with a bunch of Christians, because they are not. They're not even close to it. Anyways, folks, this has been Sherman Ray for the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you once again for being a part of the broadcast. We are hoping that we can get back and continue to get these shows rolling for you again, folks. Share them. Share them with your friends. Share them with your neighbors. Share them with your Democrat friends who don't know the difference between good and evil. And we hope that we are able to see you again next week for more of the Nevada Conservative Podcast. It's been Sherman Ray. Thanks a lot. Peace. Bye-bye.